Yeah, so we want to look at the adaptations of the mitochondria. I'm still your teacher Osbert Nuwarinda. Now, when we talk about adaptations of the mitochondria, this word adaptations is a key word in as far as biology is concerned. And why am I saying it is a key word? Because it is common. Now, how? Whenever they ask you about adaptations, I want you to think about in this angle. When you're giving adaptation, they're asking you for you to give the structure, and the function. The structure and the function. However, to make it much better, on this structure, we usually add some other word, and this word is usually a descriptive word. Maybe I think the English people would call it an adjective. We usually add something descriptive. What do I mean? We are saying here on this structure here, it is better you should add a descriptive word. You add a descriptive word. What do we mean? Let me give you this example. Assume somebody came and asked that, Teacher Osbert, how is Teacher Osbert adapted to eat? What are the different adaptations of Osbert for him to be able to eat? So they are asking, that question is the same as asking that, how is Teacher Osbert well suited to eat food? Now, one of the points, somebody can come and say, Teacher Osbert, that is a very simple question. And he says that, Teacher Osbert is adapted to eat because he has a mouth. Because he has teeth, which he uses for tearing food or for breaking food into small particles. That one is not bad. That is somehow. However, the best one would be that you come and say that Teacher Osbert, the best one would be that Teacher Osbert has got stronger teeth. You see? So the word is the word is teeth, but something descriptive is the teeth are strong. He has got stronger teeth, which enable him to break or to crush food or to tear food. So he has got sharp teeth. So the word which is descriptive there is the word sharp. He has got sharp teeth for tearing. He has got stronger teeth that enable grinding of the food. If it is a mouth, he has got a large buccal cavity. Buccal cavity is the space within the mouth. Here, the space in his mouth is too large, and therefore you can be able to accommodate large chunks of portion. You get? That's what we call adaptation. So likewise, when you come to the mitochondrion, and you're talking about adaptations, that's the same angle where you're expected to give your answers. How is the mitochondrion adapted to perform its function? And of course, the best function of the mitochondrion is basically is respiration or production of energy. So here is our structure of mitochondria. I've tried to simplify it. Now we are also going to base on these structures what we are seeing here to give adaptations. And we are beginning with what? With the membrane. Of course, we have seen that the mitochondrion is made up of the inner membrane and outer membrane here. Outer membrane. Now, together, that means the mitochondria is made up of two membranes. Now the question is, why two membranes? So the first point is the mitochondrion is double membraned. It's double membraned. And therefore, because it's double membraned, what's the importance? This prevents interference. Who is interfering the other? Remember, this mitochondrion is found in the cytoplasm. So if it was because of these two membranes, what would happen is the very many reactions that take place within the cytoplasm would interfere with the reactions that take place in the in the mitochondrion. So thanks be to the double membranes that prevents reactions within the cytoplasm from interfering with the reactions that take place within the mitochondrion. That has the importance. So we are saying the key word is double. Of course, this double, we are adding it on the membrane. The membrane is doubled. That is to prevent. This is to prevent reactions in the cytoplasm from interfering with reactions in the mitochondrion. As simple as that. Then we say we were also able to see that the inner membrane is special. And how is special? How special is it? This inner membrane we saw the inner membrane is folded. We saw this inner membrane was folded, and those infoldings we called them what? Cristae. For those ones who have said about digestion, I know they could have told you that digestion in digestion, we have a part we call intestines. And something special about intestines, for example, the small intestines, they are what? They are folded. And one thing they always give for foldings is that the more it is folded, the more the surface area. So the foldings provide the intestines with large surface area for what? For the function that the intestines do. What are the functions of the intestines? One is digestion, another one is absorption. So the intestines are folded to increase surface area. That's the same scenario. That's the same thing that we are bringing here. So the inner membrane of mitochondria is folded. It has foldings we are calling cristae. And the importance is to provide a large surface area. So this is cristae. The importance is that these foldings, it is the foldings we are calling cristae. These ones provide a large surface area. Now the question is, surface area for what? Yeah, if it is intestines, we are saying surface area for absorption, for digestion. Now here, surface area for what? Now we are going to appreciate as we go along. We're going to appreciate that the mitochondria has got processes of respiration, has got different stages. Now there is a stage which occurs in the inner membrane of mitochondria. That stage of respiration that occurs in the inner membrane of mitochondria is called electron transport chain. That electron transport chain, that one is found or occurs within the inner membrane of mitochondria. So the surface area is for that stage, which is known as the electron transport chain. Of course, we are going to, in the videos which are coming ahead, we are going to break this one further. We shall be breaking this one further. Yeah, so don't get worried. We are going to look at that one further. So the cristae are folded to ensure that it provides a large surface area for the transport of electrons, which occurs within the inner membrane of the mitochondrion. Then we come here. The inner membrane. Within the inner membrane and the outer membrane, there is a space, and that space we have called it intermembranous space. What is something descriptive about this space? Something that is descriptive about this space is that this space is narrow. We are saying this space is narrow. Now, what is the importance of it being narrow? The importance of it being narrow is that this one allows quick or fast accumulation of hydrogen ions, which facilitates what we call which facilitates a process, and that process we call it, which facilitates a process known as chemiosmosis. Now, this is a stage we are also going to explore more as we go along. As indeed, I've told you that during the process of the production of energy in this mitochondria, we have got very many reactions, we have got very many stages. And one of the stages involves this process we are calling chemiosmosis. So this is one of the stages which leads to production of energy. We are going to explore it in the subsequent episodes here in this series. So we are saying because this space is narrow, at some point we shall see hydrogen ions move from this liquid here coming here. So when hydrogen ions come from here and they come here, when this space is very narrow, it allows the ions to accumulate very fast. The ions will accumulate here very fast. And when ions accumulate here very fast, that is what is going to facilitate this process we are calling chemiosmosis, that we are going to expound more in subsequent videos. But we just get to know for the start here that this chemiosmosis is one of those processes that facilitates the production of energy. So it means the more we have this chemiosmosis take place, the more we are producing energy. The faster it takes place, the faster the energy is produced. So this narrow space allows this chemiosmosis to take place faster. That's what we're trying to say at this point. Then when we continue, we are saying in this, maybe before we go inside, we are saying on this inner membrane, for example, we have got some particles we call stocked particles. These stocked particles are also those structures within a mitochondria that facilitates this process of chemiosmosis, as we shall see in the subsequent videos. However, here we are calling them stocked particles, but if you go into details, we are saying this inner membrane has got very many complexes, has got very many protein complexes. And one of the proteins which are found in this inner membrane is actually called ATP synthase. Now, this ATP synthase is one of the proteins which is found in this inner membrane and that also facilitates this chemiosmosis, as we shall see. However, we are saying this is so-called, this stock particle is just a protrusion. It's just a protrusion of what we are calling ATP synthase. So as we progress, we shall find ourselves talking about ATP synthase, not talking about stock particles. Don't get lost. We are saying this is just a segment of this. So as we progress, we shall talk more about this one, not the other one. So, but we are saying these particles, ATP synthase, stock particles, all facilitate chemiosmosis, which leads to production of energy. So that is one of the things. So the inner membrane having numerous stock particles, also this one facilitates chemiosmosis. This one facilitates chemiosmosis, which is production of energy. Now we are saying when you go inside from the inner membrane, if you go inside, we are going to find a matrix. Something special about this matrix is that this matrix contains many. This one has got many enzymes. Has got very many enzymes. Now, what are enzymes for? You know very well that enzymes, whenever you talk about enzymes, you're talking about catalyzing of chemical reactions. So we have got very many chemical reactions. I've told you that respiration takes place in very many stages, which involve very many reactions. In fact, this matrix here has got very many reactions, as we shall see in one of the stages. Now, those reactions can only take place very fast to facilitate the production of energy if we have enzymes. So the very many enzymes which are found in the matrix is to ensure that the reactions which take place within a matrix that result into production of energy take place very fast. So here we are saying the matrix has many enzymes, which many enzymes catalyze. The different chemical reactions that occur within the matrix, and those reactions we shall see them as we progress. Now, something special also in this matrix here is that we have got very many ribosomes. Now, ribosomes. Did you know that our bodies are capable of manufacturing proteins? Yeah, in your body you have proteins. For example, enzymes are proteins. Hormones, in your body you have hormones. You have heard about issues to do with hormonal imbalance, things like that. So hormones are proteins. You get? In your cell, in your cell membrane, you have proteins there, and so on and so forth. So proteins are very important components of our bodies, of our cells. Now we are saying that the mitochondria is something unique. Actually, mitochondria has the capacity to manufacture its own proteins. Why? Because within it has got factories, the factories for proteins. Of course, the factories for proteins in a cell, in a mitochondrion, like in an organelle like a mitochondrion, the factories for proteins are what you call ribosomes. So these ribosomes, their work is very simple, and their work is what? Is these ones here. They are for manufacture of what? Manufacture of proteins. Manufacture of proteins. So this one is manufacture proteins, and this one here is to prevent this mitochondrion from over depending on the protein that come from the cytoplasm. Now, for those ones who have said about protein synthesis, I think you might be getting what I'm saying very well. And for those ones who have really decided about protein synthesis, I've told you this YouTube channel has the details about protein synthesis, so you can check it out and also understand it. Yeah, so we are saying ribosomes manufacture proteins. Now, there is something special. For those ones who have said about protein synthesis, we said that for you to manufacture proteins, the instructions about which protein to be manufactured, those instructions come from the DNA. Those instructions come from the DNA. So this cellular DNA, so small as it is also important in a way. It is this one that gives instructions for the manufacture of the proteins that this mitochondria will be needing to do its work very well to manufacture protein. For example, we have said this thing has got many enzymes. But these enzymes are proteins. So it means this mitochondrion has got continuously manufacture proteins to facilitate those proteins are enzymes which will facilitate the different chemical reactions within the what? Within the mitochondrion. So we are saying the instructions for the manufacture of a protein, depending on the need of a given structure, those instructions come from the what? From the DNA. So this DNA also, in one or the other, also controls this one here. Is it gives instructions. It gives instructions for what? For the manufacture of what? Of proteins. So this such a DNA also enables or facilitates the manufacture of proteins within the mitochondria to ensure that the mitochondria does not have to rely on the importation of proteins from the what? From the rest of the cell. Remember, the rest of the cell I'm talking about has a nucleus within the cytoplasm. Now that nucleus has the other big DNA, which controls almost all activities in a cell. So we are saying that big nucleus, that DNA which is from the big nucleus, will have other roles to play. But we are saying instead of having to rely on the proteins whose instructions came from the other big nucleus, the DNA of the other big nucleus, what happens with the mitochondria? The mitochondria says, aha, now I will not overlay onto the proteins that are coming from the rest of the cell. Meanwhile, as those ones come, for me, let me be doing what? Let me be manufacturing mine to enable my processes, to enable the process which occur within me as mitochondria to take place as the other ones are coming. So that's why we are saying the cellular DNA facilitates the manufacture of proteins that mitochondria needs to have its processes progress without it having to rely on the proteins which are coming from the rest of the cell. You get? So this one actually, the mitochondria having its own DNA that can facilitate the manufacture of its own proteins and having its own ribosomes. This one makes the mitochondria to become semi-autonomous. There are two structures in the cell which are semi-autonomous. One of them is mitochondrion, another one is chloroplast. Why? Because these two organelles, for them, they have their own DNA. That means they have some kind of independence. And that independence is also shown in being able to manufacture their own proteins without having to rely on the proteins which are coming from the rest of the cell. So we say they are semi-autonomous. These ribosomes which are found in this mitochondria, they are special for they are a type of which is known as 70S ribosomes. The ribosomes which are found in the rest of the cell, for example, in cytoplasm, some of them are 80S, but these ones are what? Are 70S ribosomes. Yeah, so these are some of the adaptations. I know if you go into reading your book and so on, you can find more other details about the different adaptations of the mitochondria. But these are just a few that I've been able to share with you. I hope you have learned something. Now, let's meet in the next episode. Thank you very much.